Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you know, in our last tutorial, we had completed a series for React hooks. As per my opinion, now you guys had learned almost each and every topic mentioned under React documentation along with hooks. Now it's the time to move on with the practical project. In today's tutorial, we will be implementing one small web application. Let's go ahead and try to see what we are going to implement. Keep in mind, today's tutorial will be longer a bit as compared to our old series. First of all, I had given you an introduction. Now what we will do is we will create a React project with Tailwind CSS integration. Later on we will be creating some folders, or I will be explaining you a folder structure in React.js. Then I will be creating a to-do list. That to-do list I will be setting up in context API. Then I will be showing those to-dos in our web browser, and later on I will be giving the functionality for to-do update and delete. Update will be mark that to do as completed, or delete that to do. Then later on I will be creating a to do form that will allows you create a new to create new to dos. And lastly, we will be showing the completed to do count in our web browser. Let's talk about a bit CSS frameworks. There are a couple of framework or libraries available for CSS around the globe, but the most famous one from those famous four, I can say from those, are Bootstrap, ArchG, Material UI and Tailwind. Any kind of framework you want to learn, you can learn. It will give you very good knowledge and it will allows you to create very good UIs for your web project. I always prefer to go on with Tailwind, so in today's tutorial we will be implementing Tailwind. Without wasting time, let's move forward to our project. I had created very basic project for React.js, and that is running up and live. That's my React.js project to-do list. Nothing, we haven't done anything inside this project. It's very basic. You guys can create it how? By using npx create react app, and then you can give the any name that you want to give to your React application. You can go inside your React application. This is the step that I will be providing now. I will be going on now, or I will be doing now, is to install Tailwind in your React.js application and to create your front end with React.js applications. How we can do that is you have to go into React.js application by using cd, and then what you have to do is you have to write down this command npm install -d in your terminal Tailwind. Okay, there is access issue. I will be using sudo to install this, so you guys can see I am installing Tailwind. Until it will be installed, what you have to do is you have to init your Tailwind by using sudo npx tailwind css init. It will create tailwind.config.js file for you inside your project. You guys can see here, if I will close this folder, there is no tailwind.config file. Let me write down here sudo, and you guys can see there is new file tailwind.config.js is created. I'll go into my browser. I will give permission to my each users that I had created, so I can edit this file as well, because I had created these file from terminal. So that's why in Windows PC or in your PC this step is not there, like you will not suffer with this, but I have to do that because I'm using with sudo commands, that's why. So this is what you have to paste here. This is what it's saying: apply this Tailwind to each of the file available inside source folder with JS extension, TypeScript extension, or TypeScript with X extension. X means wherever you are returning JSX. So if you have TypeScript on top of your React.js project, it will work with that as well. This is how you can integrate Tailwind. Very basic. You have to copy this one, where you have to paste inside source index.css file. This is your index.css file. Inside source folder there is index.css file. Very top on first line you have to paste these 3 lines to integrate Tailwind in your project. Now you can start your project. The Tailwind is integrated already. Sudo npm start is the command to start React.js project. Up and live again. For verification, I'll copy this. I'll go to my app.js. Inside my header, I'll keep the header for the designing a bit. So I have to go on. See, you guys can see my h1 is very nice appearing there inside my header tag with 3 XL. If I'll make it 2 XL, it will be small. If I will make it XL, it will be more small. If I will make it MD, it will be more small. These are all the functionalities that Tailwind provides you by default. You can use them directly in your project. So now what I have to do here is I have to create a folder structure hierarchy. First of all, folders are I have to create folder that will be components. Second, you have to create new folder for data. If you are using Redux, you guys are not familiar with Redux, I will just create a folder for your understanding. Later on, once we learn Redux, your Redux file will appear here. Later on, there is utils also, and there is a new folder called hooks as well, if you are writing any custom hook. So first of all, now what I have to do here is I have to create data for my to-do list. After integrating Tailwind, what I have to do here is I have to create, I had created a folder structure already. Now I have to create a to-do list. I'll go inside data. I'll create new file called todo list.js. Okay. I'll say exports dot todos equals to an array. Inside that one there will be an object that contains id. Id will be a numeric number. Task will be, I will say, create React app. Okay, and after that status it will show you that the task is completed or no. False mean initially it's not completed. I'll create a complete outline inside that one. I have 9 different components in the outline, 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So I will do it like this: 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 and 1. Second thing will be, first of all I have introduction and create introduction. I can say introduction and create React app. Second is integrate Tailwind CSS. Third is React app. I can React application folder structure, and then after this there will be another one that will be to-do list. Create to-do list. Okay, then create setup context API. I can say setup. These are all tasks we have to do today. So context API, one by one we will do them and we will mark them as completed in our application. And then I will say setup context API to do show to do list in browser, show to do list in browser, and after this I have to say create functionality NALITY functionality for update and delete. Then I'll say create to do form, create functionality to create to do list, create to do form. After create to do form, then it will be create to do, and I can say create to do task, and the last one will be the 10th one, and that will be our final task to show count of completed to do tasks. That's it. So it's exported here. Let me import here. I can import it. Import to dos from data / to-do list. I had imported it. Now what I have to do here is I have to set up these to-dos in my state variable, because I have to set up them in the context API. So for that I need set to-dos as well, because I have to create to-dos later on as well. So it's very basic and beginning step. You have to set up them inside the state variable. So I can say to-dos to-do list. Let me say it to-do list, and I can say set to-do list equals to use state, and use state will create to-dos that I had exported from this file. Let me close this file. My to-dos are already exported. Now what I have to do here is I have to create a context, const to-do context equals to react dot create context. Okay, that's it. What I have to do here is inside my JSX, above the header inside the application, I will say to do context dot provider. I'll make this O smaller, it will be much better, and that's it. All my application code, I'll copy it and I'll paste inside this context provider. Value should be what? It will be an object. Okay, that object will take these two parameters. First will be to-do list, and the second one will be set to-dos. If I will make it like this, you guys can see it will not work, because value will take only one variable as a parameter. That will be a function, that will be a value, any basic value, an object or anything. So that must be an object that I have to pass. Okay, React is not defined. I have to import React here as well. So remove this one. So it will work now perfectly. I had imported the to-dos. What I have to do now is I have to create a container, new file. I'll say new file. I can, first of all, I'll create a folder, one folder. I'll say to do container. Okay, inside that one I'll be creating a new file called to do container.js. okay, RFC React functional component will be here. Okay, this container will actually use your what? To-dos. I will show to-dos here. For the meantime, what I will do here is const. Okay, I'll say what I want here is I want these two variable, or this object that I had pasted it here. I'll destructure that one here. Okay, from where use context, which context I need is to do context. To do list, to do context. I have to export that one also. I will say export default. Let me see, export is fine, that's fine. Let's go on here and I'll say to do context. So this is how I need to-dos. So these to-dos are available here. How we can see it? We have to go on with use effect hook to know if to-dos are available here or no. Use effect hook and arrow function, and inside that arrow function pass empty dependency array, and then console.log to see to-do list is available here or no. Let me head back to my browser and inspect element. It will not be available. Why? Because I haven't imported that. Let me X this one, paste it here. It will be better. And here I will say to do container, import that one here. You guys can see my all 10 to dos are available inside where? Inside to do container. Now I have to show these to dos. How I have to show? I have to map them inside my container. What I have to do here is I have to perform 3 actions. Show to dos, 3 different things. Show to dos. Once I will show those to do, for sure will be able to update and delete. Second thing is, after showing to do, second thing I have to do here is I have to create to do form. Okay. And the last one will be show completed task. Okay. For completed task, what I have to do here is I will show here directly inside this h1 completed task. First of all, I will let me take it for the end. Like I will show it at the end. I will say completed task will appear where? Here 0 0 0 or only 0. It will appear here. Okay, so I will make it 3xl. Now what I have to do here is I have to create what? I have to create a list where I can show the to-dos. So I will say here the new folder called to-do list. Inside that one I will be creating a new file called todo list.js. What this to-do list will do? RFC React functional component, same this thing I will import here. Okay, this will allow you to access to-dos and map them. To-do context. Okay, and here inside this what I have to do here is I want you to map them. How you can map them? To-do list. What you have to do is dot map function will give you to do, each to do, and then inside this one, for example, I'll see h1 and to do dot task, and here the key will be to do dot id. Let's hit save and try to import this where inside our, I'll say fragment. Inside this one I have to import what? To do list. Okay, let's go back to the browser. To do list dot map is not a function. Very sorry. What I have to do here is to do list dot to dos. Very good. To dos dot to dos, so it will be a function now. Now it's a function. To do dot to dos. So to do dot task, if I'll be here, I have to show it in curly braces. You guys can see all my tasks are appearing here. Now what I want here is I want some sort of gaps between all this. How I can do that is I have to go inside the container. I'll see class flex that dash call. These are all the classes that are available in Tailwind. You guys can go into the Tailwind and see the documentation. You guys will understand directly. Gap, for example, I want 4. You guys can see there is gap between them. Now I want like if I will create a form as well, it will appear, but nextly I will be creating that one. I want the gap inside these as well. How can I create that one? Is class, I'll say flex dash call and gap dash, for example, 2. So there is gap between the tasks as well now. Okay, so it should be, for example, I'll give it p, it's better. So for example, I'll give it to class text dash sm. You guys can see the tasks are small now. Okay, I can give it underline as well. Underline, it's underlined. I can change the color also. I can say text dash red dash 400. I can change many things I can do. These are all the classes available in Tailwind. You guys can understand it, or you guys can go on with that. Now what I want here is inside this map, I have to show in the to do. Actually, what is that to do? It's a task. To do is a folder. Inside that one, I will be creating a new file called todo.js rfc react functional component. Each time this to do will take a to do as an input, and what it will return, for example, it will return class flex dash row. I want this to be in the row. Now I will create first checkbox, then the second thing will be label, and the last thing will be my delete button. Okay, so this is what I have to create here. How I can create that one, let's go here. I will show you one more thing is Tailwind checkbox. You can get some pre-designs from where? From Flowbyte, very easily. There are a lot of things available in Flowbyte. This one you need this one, you need this one. No, you can copy paste anything, whatever you want. So what I want here is, normally what I want here is, I want this input. Okay, so this is what I want here is to be inside my to do. I will go here to my to do. Okay, so I'll copy paste it from here directly. This one I have to make like this. Okay, so I'll remove this disabled. From here I'll just hit save, and this to do actually will be to do dot task will appear here inside the curly braces. I can say to do dot task is appearing here. So this to do I will pass, instead of this I will pass to do. Let me comment out this, and I will be passing to do here. Key will be what? To do dot id, and inside props what I need here is to do will be my to do and close. That's it. This is what I want here. If I will go to my application, you guys can see I'm seeing every time this check box. So let's go to my data. Here is my data. Let's keep the first one we had completed already. The second one we had completed already. Third one is also completed already. Let's keep first three as checked, and the rest all of them, let's see, first four as checked and the rest without check, like unchecked. How we can do this check and uncheck here is, we have to move to our to do. So for example, I'll say this is checkbox. I'll remove this as well, checkbox. Let me go on like this, type checkbox. Value will be, for example, value, I will keep it like this, to do dot id. Okay, and similarly the closing tag is here. What I have to do here is, I have to pass what? I have to pass checked. Okay, if I will pass checked, all of them will turn to what? Will turn to checked. If I will pass checked only, you guys can see all of them are checked. Now this checked will be actually dependent on what? To do dot status. If it's true, pass true. If it's false, pass false. Let's move forward and see. Let me do reload. You guys can see 4 of them are checked, rest all are unchecked. If I will move forward to to-do list, I will make it back to false, all of them. You guys can see all of them are false. Now what I want here is, I want this, once it's clicked, it will be checked. Make this checkbox as controlled component. How you can make that? Inside to do, what you have to do here is, you have to pass what? Set to do function also you have to pass. How you can pass this function? From to-do list, what you are passing only to do, you have to pass this set to do also, like this. Hit save. In to do, you have to receive this set to do function as well. Okay, now what you have to do here is, I can say here, for example, const to do status changed, okay, equals to an arrow function that will take event, or not an event, I can say just only like arrow function. And arrow function, what it will give you, it will give you a functionality to mark the to do as completed or no. I will say, for example, on change of this, first you have to do is you have to pass this to do status change, and here what you have to do here is set to do list. What to do list you will be setting up? You have to have an access of previous to do list, an arrow function. Inside arrow function, I will say if to do previous to do list dot id equals to, very sorry, if previous to do list dot id double equals to do dot id, if it's matched, what you have to do here is you have to return what? An object that contains the current to do, and status will be status. Status will be what? That will be to do dot status. Reverse the status of that to do. Otherwise, just return what? Return your previous to do list. Very sorry. Here we have to map actually previous to do list. Return what? Previous to do list dot map what? Previous to do list, prev to do, and what you have to do here is an arrow function. You have to say inside this arrow function this functionality. What you are doing here is you are marking the task as complete. How? Previous to do dot id. You are going to return this previous to do list. You are mapping that, and you are saying if previous to do id is matching to your current to do here, just what you have to return is you have to change the status of that. Otherwise return the previous to do directly as it is back. Okay, so let's hit save and go back to browser. Expected assignment call. What is saying? Expected an assignment or function call as instead of source unused expression key. Search for keywords. Learn more for our todos.js. Line number 14. Line number 14. Line number 14. Line number 14. Previous to do. Previous to do. Sorry, I have to ask return here. Hit save. So you guys can see if I will click here, the task is marked as completed. Okay. If I will click back, the task is marked as uncompleted back. Okay. So now what I have to do here is I have to mark this, for example, this row, I will give it w dash 96, for example, the width, and then I will say border dash white. So you guys can see all of this are here. Borders I gave, I can say py minus 2, okay, sorry, py minus 4 3 and px minus 4. Let's give this to it. Now on the right side I have to show what? I have to show a button for deletion. So what I have to do here is I have to show button. What will be the functionality of that button? Delete to do. Okay, so that function will be deleting the to do. Let me design this button as well. First of all, I have shown flex row, then I will show justify between. You guys can see the delete is moved right. Okay, and secondly, let's say like this, 3 is enough. And here I will be passing a class name. What should be the class name? For example, I will say bg-white. First of all, make the background white. Secondly, text dash sm, make text small. Then text dash neutral neutral dash 600, give color 600. Similarly, px minus 2, x padding, give it minus 2, and py minus 1, give it to minus 1 in the py. So this is how you can create what? You can create delete button. Now what you have to do in the delete button, you have to pass the functionality on click, what? Delete to do. So you have to create that function here as well. Const delete to do equals to an arrow function. What you have to do in that arrow function is you have to set to do list. Similarly, you can set to do list here inside this one, and you have access to your previous to do list. You can go on with previous to do list, and what you have to return is return previous to do list dot filter. You have to do filter, okay, previous to do list dot filter, where I can say prev to do, okay, and an arrow function prev to do dot id does not equals to do dot id. As soon as your previous to do's id match, that item will be filtered, like your current item will be filtered, where you will click the delete button. Let's go ahead and check if it works or no. Let me delete this last item here. I will click. You guys can see my items are getting deletion. This is how you can delete to-do list. Okay. Let me give a padding to my container here as well. I will say, for example, py minus 8. So that's better now, much better. Now what I have to do here is I have to create a form at the end. Okay. So let's go ahead in the component new folder called to do form. Okay, and inside that form I will be creating a new file called to do form.js. let's rename it. I had made an O capital. Very sorry guys, I need water. Let me drink water. Yeah, let's back. So RFC, another functional component. This one create two things. Okay, a div, change this div to form. Okay, inside that form I will be creating a class flex dash row, and I will be creating like w dash 96. I'll give it width and justify between as well. I will write to make space between both of them. Now what I have to do here is I have to say on submit I will say handle submit. Okay, here we have to create a handle submit event with an arrow function. This is an arrow function for handle submit that will take E as a default, E as an event, and E will let you to not reload the page. E dot prevent default. Okay, this is how you can go on with this. Okay, now you have to create an input. Okay, and a button and another input. You can say another input called input. Okay, this one is type will be submit. Okay, and value will be, I will say, create task, and this one type will be, what type will be? Text, and on change handler will allow you to change the value. I will say E and set up the value in what? In some state. I will say task comma set task, okay, equals to use state, and initially the value is 0. Now what I have to do here is I have to set up the task. Set task to e.currentTarget.value. So as soon as the value is changed, the task it will be set it up in the state. Now what I have to do here is I have to similarly copy these two here. Same thing I have to do is I have to add these to-do list, use context and to-do context as well. I have to import both of them. Now here inside this one I will say set to-do list. Inside this one what I will do here is I will pass the old to-do list using spread operator, and the next one as an object id will be what? To-do list dot length, the last one what I had given the length, and then the task will be, for example, inside the value, whatever the value we are giving, that is task also, and the status will be false. status status will be false. Okay, so this is how you can create new to-do task. But how you have to create is you have to check if task have some value by using shift operators. Otherwise no need to add that task inside, empty task inside to do. Okay, so let's go back to the browser. Let's import it into our to-do container first. Another fragment will contain what? To-do form, and here is it. To-do form, O will be small, and O will be small here as well. So let's hit save, and you guys can see our to-do form is here. Let's give the same classes to create a to-do form button as well from to-do. Let's copy these classes directly from here and put it inside to-do form. So inside this one, like this, you have to create an input with submit. So create form is here already. Now I will say I am, for example, text should be black. Wait a minute, I have to give class here also to make it more clear. I will say here class name text dash black. Okay, let's hit save. I will say I, and I will have to give padding also p minus 2. I will say it's better, sorry, px minus 2 will be better. I will say I am a sample task. Once I click create task, you guys can see I am a sample task is created already. Hit save, you guys can see, and remove, it's removing already. So what it is doing is it's let me go ahead and try to go on to my index.js file. Let me comment strict mode. So the twice functionality will not work. So if I will say I am a task, if I click create button, so now one time the task is created already. If I will keep it empty and I'll try to create the task, it will not work. Why? Because of shift operator we had passed here. This is called shift operator. It will check if the task is what? If the task is empty or there is no value, undefined or null, it will not execute the next line. Okay, so what we had completed until now here is we had introduction, tailwind, to-do list is done, context API done, to-do showing done, update delete done, to-do form creation done, to-do is done. Now we have to show the completed task for to-do. Where is to-do container? This is the container for to-do. This is happening when sometimes you guys are renaming your folders and your visual code is not able to understand that one. So by the way, wait, let's me go on here, to-do list, and you guys can see, for example, dot filter. I will filter what? I can say to-do, which to-do dot status, which status is true, and then dot length, length. Length is saying to-do list, filter that to-do list whose status is true. It will return what status is, what to-dos their status are true. and the length, like count the length of the true statuses to dos and show it here if it's 1, 2 and 3. Let's go back to the browser. You guys can see as soon as I will mark it as checked, the to do task completion move to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys can say now it's 6. So this is how you can create very basic to do application with React JS. React JS will allows you, this is the very basic functionality of React JS. I hope you guys have understand it. Let me go through it one more time. What we have done here is in app.js we had imported a to-do container, but before importing the to-dos container we had created a data folder. Inside that to-do list we had exported an array of to-dos. Okay, that one we had imported in our app.js file. Then we had created a context of to-do, and then we had set it up those to-dos in our state variable, and with context we had set it up that to-do in the providers so we can access them anywhere around the application. Then we had created a to-do container. Let's move forward to to-dos container. We had a to-do container in which we had imported our to-dos by using use context hook. This is just for the testing. Let's remove it. There is no need for that. After this, what we have done here is we had showed a completed task, then fragment 2. One of them is showing to-do list. Second one is showing to-do form. First go on to to-do list. In that one we are mapping the to-dos inside to-do. To-do is actually a to-do in which we had created an input field whose functionality is checkbox and a label of to-do or task we are showing inside that label, and a button to create that one. As soon as the checkbox value change, the to-do status is changed by the help of state by using map functionality with previous state of to-do list. Secondly, delete one will allows you to delete the to-dos by using filter functionality from ES6. Later on we had created the to-do form that allows you to create an input and submit handler. In the submit handler we are checking if the to-do is empty, then return it back. If it's not empty, then just put that to-do inside the to-do list. This is how you can create very basic application. What I will do here is I will push this. I'll do some extra thing to create this to give you guys the code for this project by what? By creating a Git project. What I have to do here is I'll go to my GitHub. Okay, I'll create a new GitHub called React dash to-do list. Okay, I'll keep it as public. Create repo. I'll create a repo. This repo link will be available inside what? Inside the description for this video. Sudo git init. Okay, sorry, I had passed wrong password. This is an init for the git. Very sorry, I am again passing wrong password. Yeah, git repository is initialized. Sudo git add. Okay, sorry, sudo git add, then sudo. These are all git commands. We will be talking about git later on in AWS series. Don't go on in detail about it, just neglect it. Sudo git commit -m. I can say -m is a commit. I can say my first commit, or I can say to do React application. To do React application, that's it. And later on I'll say sudo git branch -m main, and lastly I will be passing sudo git remote origin. My origin is this. Then I'll say sudo, and I will paste this one, and sudo git push origin -u main. Okay, so I'll be passing my password here as well. I had pushed the branch into GitHub. I'll go here into my GitHub, and the code is available here for you guys by using React JS. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys understand it, you guys like it. In case of any question, any query, you can comment us in the same video as well. You can reach us in our mailbox also. See you inshallah in the next tutorial with some new series, with some new project. Until then, take care. Goodbye.